As I descended into the depths of my grandfather's basement, I never expected to stumble upon the hidden history of humanity. The basement had always been off-limits, even after he'd passed. Grandpa was eccentric. He was one of those people who built bunkers, who rambled about preparing for something larger than himself, larger than humanity. And I figured that meant he was hiding an old stash of supplies, or some secret stockpile of vintage doomsday memorabilia. But what I found was far stranger than that. The room was expensive, far larger than the foundation of his small house should have allowed. It stretched on into an underground network, but my flashlight barely reached beyond the shadowy stone walls lined with ancient carvings. They looked like symbols, a language I didn't recognize. On a raised platform at the center of the room sat a metallic capsule, sleek and shining, in stark contrast to the surrounding rough-hewn walls. Curiosity trumped caution. I approached the capsule and saw a hand-shaped indentation on the surface. Against my better judgment, I pressed my palm into it. The capsule hissed, and a panel opened to reveal a small, shimmering sphere. It felt warm in my hands, almost alive, like it was breathing. Then, before my eyes, an image projected from the sphere. I was face to face with a giant, an alien. The creature was massive, with silver skin, eyes that glowed faintly, and arms that looked strong enough to move mountains. It looked down at me, as though it could see me through the light years, through time itself. "Human," it said in perfect English, "if you are receiving this message, then the Titans have decided that your world has passed its first trials." My heart raced, thoughts spinning out of control. Titans, trials. "We are the Titans, watchers of the universe. We have seen your people endure hardships, disasters, wars, and triumphs. We left gift-hidden treasures across your world to aid in your growth, to protect, to guide." I suddenly remembered my grandfather's stories about strange artifacts hidden by ancient civilizations, lost temples, unexplainable technologies. I used to think they were just myths, but now, with this gift in my hand, I was starting to understand. The Titans had been observing us, preparing us for something bigger. The giant paused, as if waiting for the realization to sink in. "This gift will grant you knowledge of the stars, a seed to grow, to understand your place in the cosmos. When your people are ready, we will return to welcome you among the stars." The hologram faded, leaving me with a sphere that glowed softly in my hand. I realized, in that moment, what Grandpa had truly been preparing for. He had found this basement, this message. He had known that our history was intertwined with something far greater than ourselves, something ancient and mysterious. That night, I felt like a small part of a massive, cosmic story, a story of resilience, curiosity, and connection. And I knew that humanity wasn't alone. We had allies, Titans watching over us, waiting for the day we'd be ready. As I left the basement, the weight of my discovery settled in. Humanity wasn't just surviving on this lonely rock in the universe. We were being prepared for something incredible, and maybe one day, we'd meet the Titans, face to face. And so, the tale of the basement and gifts from the Titans spread across, revived by HFY, inspiring countless others to wonder about the secrets hidden beneath their feet and the giants watching from above. The night after I found the artifact, I couldn't sleep. My mind buzzed with questions, a sense of anticipation filling me. Were there more basements like this, hidden away in other cities, holding treasures or messages from the Titans? How many of these gifts had humanity missed, simply lost to time, or hidden beyond our reach? The next morning, I called my friend Alex, a historian with a fascination for ancient myths and cryptic archaeological finds. I thought if anyone would believe me, it'd be Alex. I told him about my discovery and, of course, I showed him the sphere. His eyes lit up with awe and something I'd rarely seen on his face, fear. "I don't think you realize what you have, Sam," he whispered, barely able to take his eyes off the sphere. "There are theories about advanced, possibly alien influences on early human civilizations, but an actual relic, something that confirms Titans. This could change everything." The next few weeks were a blur of research. Alex called in a few trusted colleagues, and before I knew it, we were digging through ancient texts, exploring mythologies that hinted at giants who once walked the earth. We found tales of powerful beings who had left strange devices behind, tools, weapons, things that couldn't be explained by the knowledge of the time. Our biggest breakthrough came when we connected the sphere to a series of myths across ancient cultures. The Sumerians spoke of sky giants gifting mankind with the tools of civilization. The Hopi told of star beings who would return when humanity was ready. And the Norse had legends of Jotnar, great beings who existed before the gods, said to have left traces of their powers within the earth. Then there was the strange part that seemed less like myth and more like, well, like instructions. Every legend about these beings spoke of trials humanity had to face. The Titans seemed to be waiting for signs, indicators of human resilience and growth. The artifacts, like the sphere, were only to be found when humanity was close to passing those trials. It was like they were challenging us to survive, to thrive, even through the worst times, as though only then would we be worthy. One night, Alex and I sat in the basement, staring at the sphere on the table between us. A glimmering map of constellations floated just above it, showing unfamiliar stars and worlds. Alex was fixated on it, and I could see the question in his eyes. "Sam," he said finally, his voice barely a whisper, "what if this is a test? What if the Titans left these gifts as a way to see if humanity could unite or see if we'd survive and discover, rather than destroy?" I hadn't thought about it that way, but maybe he was right. Maybe these weren't just gifts, but signs of our potential. The next few weeks were both thrilling and terrifying. As the news of our find leaked out, we became the center of media attention. Scientists, governments, private companies, they all wanted to see the sphere. Some wanted to study it, others to hoard it, but everyone wanted it for something. Then, one night, something strange happened. The sphere began to pulse, glowing more intensely than ever before. As Alex and I stood in the basement, the entire room filled with light. An image formed above the sphere, and a message began to play. The hologram was of a different Titan, this time a female figure with dark, watchful eyes that seemed to see right into us. "Humanity," she said, her voice echoing through the room, "you have awakened a path to the stars. Your curiosity, your unity in the face of danger are the qualities we value. For ages, we have watched. Now, we wait to welcome you." She paused, as though she could sense the weight of our decision. "Return here when you are ready, and you will join us among the stars. But remember, this is not only a gift, it is a responsibility. Your world, your species, your unity will determine if you can face the trials that lie ahead." The figure faded, and the room went dark once more. Alex and I stood in stunned silence, realizing what we had just witnessed. This wasn't just a gift from the Titans, it was an invitation to something grander than we could comprehend. And somewhere out there, among the stars, they were waiting for us to accept it. After the second message, it became impossible to keep our discovery a secret. The attention intensified, and soon representatives from around the world were at our door, each demanding answers, claiming rights, and proposing alliances to safeguard humanity's interests. They seemed more interested in who would hold the power that this knowledge could bring than in the message of unity it contained. In the middle of this frenzy, I kept thinking back to the Titan's words, "Your unity will determine if you can face the trials that lie ahead." Somehow, it was clear that they weren't simply watching for us to find these artifacts. They wanted us to rise above our divisions, to reach a threshold of collective purpose and resolve. This was humanity's moment to make or break test of whether we could stand together when it truly counted. The demands and political wrangling grew to the point where the basement felt more like a battlefield of national interests than a place of discovery. Alex and I knew it couldn't go on like this. The sphere wasn't just some relic, it was a cosmic invitation, and if we couldn't figure out how to respond properly, the Titans' gifts could become a curse. That's when Alex had an idea. "Sam, what if we could force their hand, show the world what's really at stake here?" "What are you talking about?" He explained his plan. We'd release the contents of the sphere to the world's constellations, the message from the Titans, the challenge to humanity. It would go viral instantly, making it impossible for any single group to hoard the knowledge. Everyone would see the stars mapped out by the Titans, the promise of something incredible, and most of all, the warning. We spent the next few days preparing. We filmed everything, the holograms, the symbols etched on the walls, and the messages that had played through the sphere. Alex managed to find an ancient, Titan glyph hidden on the capsule's surface that translated to unity, and we took special care to highlight it. This word alone held the weight of the Titan's intentions, serving as both instruction and expectation. The day we released the video, it was as if the entire world held its breath. People watched as the constellation map flickered to life on their screens, stars shifting and connecting in ways we could barely comprehend. The image of the Titan with her solemn, watchful eyes and her warning echoed through the world. There was something so undeniably powerful about it that even the most skeptical minds couldn't deny the gravity of what we were seeing. For weeks, the world seemed to transform. People everywhere were talking about the Titans, about unity, and what it would mean to stand together for the future of our species. We saw movements springing up calling for peace, alliances, and exploration, with people from every background advocating for collaboration. But, as with anything, not everyone was swayed. Some factions dismissed the message, calling it a hoax or even a cosmic conspiracy. Others were afraid, saying the Titans' presence meant we were in danger, that their influence was some sort of trap. But amid the division, a new coalition began to form. Scientists, astronauts, diplomats, philosophers, people who understood the stakes of the Titans' message came together, united in the belief that we were on the brink of something extraordinary. 6 months later, the world stood still as a small spacecraft, built with the coalition's resources, was prepared to launch. It was designed for one purpose, to carry the sphere and a message of our own into the depth of space. We wanted to show the Titans that we had heard their call, that we understood their challenge, and that we were ready to embrace our role in the cosmos. On the day of the launch, Alex and I stood at the edge of the launch site, watching as the vessel prepared to take off. Humanity's message was stored within a simple beacon that would play our response to the Titans. We have heard you. We are striving for a unity. We accept the journey. As the countdown began, I couldn't help but feel a surge of pride and fear. The future of humanity was shifting, and we were a part of that shift. The spacecraft rose into the sky, carrying with it the dreams, fears, and hopes of billions. Months passed without a word from the Titans, but the impact of the sphere's discovery lingered. People knew, somewhere in the depths of space, that our message was traveling toward ancient beings who had been watching us for eons. And in the quiet spaces between new cycles, people would look up at the stars, wondering if one day the Titans would finally respond. One evening, as Alex and I were preparing another project on the Titans artifacts, my phone buzzed with an urgent message from the Coalition's headquarters. A signal had been received, one that didn't match any known pattern from our satellites or radio transmissions. The signal carried a single message, a simple phrase spoken in dozens of languages, reaching humanity's ears in every dialect imaginable. Humanity, the voice echoed, we have received your message. The stars await. Show us your unity, and you shall walk among us. The world watched, frown-seen in anticipation. The Titans had heard us, and for the first time in history, they had replied. It was only the beginning.